Hello, I'm Oliver Eaton and welcome to my channel. Before the video starts, just please press the like button and the subscribe button so you don't miss any more videos. I'm Oliver Eaton and once again welcome to my channel, and this is the start of a great interest what I do enjoy doing, looking at football history, football clubs, and this is just episode 1 of many parts what hopefully we will have. And we're starting, as it's alphabetical order, with Arsenal. So let's begin with Arsenal's football history. So, Arsenal Football Club started out as Dial Square in 1886 by workers at the Royal Arsenal in Woolwich, South East London. Lately after that, it was renamed the Royal Arsenal shortly afterwards. The club was renamed again to Woolwich Arsenal after becoming a limited company in 1893. The club became the first Southern member of the Football League in 1893, starting out in the second division, which in modern day terms I think that's the championship. On this season they won promotion to the first division, aka the Premier League, in 1904. The club's relative geographic isolation resulted in lower attendances than those of other clubs, which led to the club becoming mired in financial problems and efficiency bankrupt by 1910. When they were taken over by businessmen Harry Norris and William Hall, Norris sought to move the club elsewhere, and in 1913, soon after relegation back into the second division, Arsenal moved to the new Arsenal Stadium in Highbury, North London. They dropped the Woolwich on their name the following year. Arsenal only finished in 5th place in the second division during the last pre-war competitive season of 1914 to 1915, but were nevertheless elected to rejoin the first division, with competitive football resumed in 1919 to 1920 season at the expense of their local rivals Tottenham Hotspur. Some books have reported that this election to Division 1 was achieved by dubious means. Arsenal then appointed Herbert Chapman as manager in 1925. Herbert Chapman was the previous Huddersfield Town manager in a great victory, as Huddersfield Town were winners of the Barclays Premier League or Division 1 3 times in a row, and the first team to ever do that. Chapman brought Arsenal their first period of major success. His tactics and training, along with the signings of star players such as Alex James and Cliff Baston, laid the foundation of the club's domination of English football in the 1930s. Under his guidance, Arsenal won their first major trophies. Victory in the 1930 FA Cup final preceded 2 league championships in 1930 to 1931 and 1932 to 33. In addition, Chapman was behind the 1932 renaming of the local London Underground station Gillespie Road to Arsenal, making it the only tube station to be named I can't even say this word, after a football club, and it's the only football team to be named a tube station. Chapman died suddenly of pneumonia in early 1934, leaving Joe Shaw and George Allison to carry out his successful work. Under their guidance, Arsenal won 3 more titles in the 1933 to 34 season, 34 to 35 season, and the 37 to 38 season, and the 1936 FA Cup, while also becoming known as the Bank of England club. As key players retired, Arsenal had started to fade by the decade's end, and then the intervention of the Second World War meant competitive football in England was again suspended. After the World War II, Arsenal enjoyed a second period of success under Allison's successor Tom Whittaker, winning the league in 47 to 48 season and 52 to 53, and the FA Cup in 1950. Their fortunes wound forever after. Unable to attract players of the same calibre as they had in the 1930s, the club spent most of the 1950s and 60s in trophyless mediocrity. Even former England captain Billy Wright could not bring the club any success as the manager in the stint between 1962 and 1966. Arsenal began winning silverware again with the surprise appointment of the club Bertie as manager in 1966. After losing 2 League Cup finals, they won their first European trophy, the 1969-1970 Inter-Cities Fairs Cup. This was followed by an even greater triumph, their first League and FA Cup double in 1970 and 71. This marked a premature high point of the decade. The double winning side was soon broken up, and the following decade was followed by a series of misses, starting with Arsenal finished as FA Cup runners-up in 1972 and the First Division runners-up in 1972-73 season. Terry Neal was recruited by the Arsenal board to replace Bertie in 1976. At the age of 34, he became the youngest manager to date for Arsenal. With new signings like Malcolm MacDonald and Pat Jennings, and a crop of talent in the side such as Liam Bradley and Frank Stapleton, the club enjoyed their best form since the 1971 double, reaching a trio of FA Cup finals in 1978, 79 and 1980, and losing the 1980 Cup Winners' Cup final on penalties. The club's early success during this time was their last-minute 3-2 victory over Manchester United in the 1979 FA Cup final, which was one of the Arsenal's classic games in history. The return of former player George Graham as manager in 1986 brought a third period of glory. Arsenal won the League Cup in 1986 to the 87 season, Graham's first season in charge. This was followed by a league title win in 1988-1989 season, won with a last-minute goal in the final game of the season against fellow title challengers Liverpool. Graham's Arsenal won another title in 1990-91 season, losing only one match. Won the FA Cup and League Cup double in 1993 and the second European trophy, the Cup Winners' Cup, in 1994. Graham's reputation was tarnished when he was found to have taken kickbacks from agent Roone Hogg for signing certain players, and he was dismissed in 1995. His replacement, Bruce Riot, lasted for only one season, leaving the club after a dispute with the board of directors. The club's success in the late 1990s and the first decade of the 21st century owed a great deal to the 1996 appointment of Arsene Wenger as manager. Wenger brought new tactics, a new training regime and several foreign players who complemented the existing English talent. Arsenal won a second league and cup double in 1997-98 season and a third in 2001-2002. In addition, the club reached the final of the 1990-2000 UEFA Cup, losing on penalties to Galatasaray. They were victorious in the 2003 and 2005 FA Cups and won the Premier League in 2003 and 2004 season without losing a single match, an achievement which earned this side the nickname the Invincibles. The feat came within a run of 49 league matches unbeaten from the 7th of May 2003 to 24th of October 2004, which was a national record. Arsenal finished in either first or second place in the league in 8 of Wenger's first 11 seasons at the club, although on no occasion were they able to retain the title. As of July 2003, they were one of 5 teams, the others being Manchester United, Blackburn Rovers, Chelsea and Manchester City, to have won the Premier League since its formation in 1992. Arsenal had never progressed beyond the quarter-finals of the Champions League until 2005-2006. In that season they became the first club from London in the competition's 50-year history to reach the final, in which they were beaten 2-1 by Barcelona. In July 2006 they moved into the new Emirates Stadium after 93 years at Highbury. Arsenal reached the final of the 2007 and 2011 League Cups, losing 2-1 to Chelsea and Birmingham City. The club has not gained any trophies since the 2005 FA Cup. Unveiled in 1888, Royal Arsenal's first crest featured 3 cannon viewed from above, pointing northwards, similar to the coat of arms of the metropolitan borough of Woolwich. These can sometimes be mistaken for chimneys, but the presence of the carved lion's head and the cast cable on each are clear indicators that they are a cannon. This was dropped after the move to Highbury in 1913, only to be reinstated in 1922 when the club adopted a crest featuring a single cannon pointing eastwards with the club's nickname the Gunners inscribed alongside it. The crest only lasted until 1925, which is just 3 years, when the cannon was reversed to point westward and its barrel slimmed down. In 1949 the club unveiled a modest crest featuring the same style of cannon below the club's name set in a black letter, and above the coat of arms of the Islington Meta thing, and a score inscribed with their club's newly adapted Latin motto, Victoria Concordia Crescit. Victory comes from harmony. Coined by the club's programme editor Harry Homer, for the first time the crest was rendered in colour, which varied slightly over the crest's lifespan, finally becoming red, gold and green. Because of the numerous revisions of the crest, Arsenal were unable to copyright it, although because of unofficial Arsenal merchandise. Arsenal eventually sought a more comprehensive legal protection. Therefore in 2002 they introduced a new crest featuring more modern curved lines and a simplified style, which was copyrightable. The cannon once again faces east and the club's name is written in a sans serif typeface above the cannon. Green was replaced by dark blue. The new crest was criticised by some supporters. The Arsenal Independent Supporters Association claimed that the club had ignored much of Arsenal's history and tradition with such a radical modern design, and that the fans have not properly consulted on the issue. Until the 1960s, a badge was worn on the playing shirt only for the high-profile matches, such as FA Cup finals, usually in the form of a monogram or the club's initials in red on a white background. The monogram theme was developed into an Art Deco style badge on which the letters A and C framed a football rather than the letter F, the whole set with a hexagonal border. This early example of a cooperative logo, introduced part of Herbert Chapman's rebranding of the club in 1930s, was used not only on FA Cup finals shirts but as a design feature throughout Highbury Stadium, including above the main entrance and inland in the floors. From 1967 a white cannon was regularly worn on the shirts until replaced by the club's crests, sometimes with the addition of the nickname the Gunners in the 1990s. In the 2011-2012 season, Arsenal celebrated their 125-year anniversary. The celebrations included a modified design of the current crest worn on the jerseys for the season. The crest was all white, surrounded by 15 oak leaves to the right and 15 leaves to the left. The oak leaves represent the 15 founding members of the club who met at the Royal Oak pub. The 15 laurel leaves represent the design detail on the 6p pieces paid by the founding fathers to establish the club. The laurel leaves also represent strength to compete the crest 1886 and 2011 as shown on either side of the motto forward at the bottom of the crest. Now before we finish, of course, we have to look at the kits. As you can see on the screen now, there's a couple pictures of the kits, how they've changed through the 127 years of the club. Of course, now also coming on your screen is the honours what the club's won through the years. Of course, many games have been won by the club, and I'll just reading some out. Of course, they've won the First Division and Premier League 13 times, the FA Cup 10 times, the League Cup 2 times, the FA Community Shield 12 times, the European Cup Winners' Cup once, and the Intercities Fairs Cup once. And that is Arsenal's club history. Please respect the video, as it has taken a long time to research, make and finally publish. Please press the like button, press the subscribe link, and if you want to request any football clubs, just jot them down. But I think our next one, if I'm right by alphabetical order, it should be Aston Villa. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please feel free to comment down any improvements you would like to make. Just please, nothing rude. Anyway, I'm Oliver Eaton. Thank you for watching. This was Arsenal's football history.